If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. What We Do in the Shadows is an American mockumentary comedy horror television series created by Jemaine Clement. First broadcast on March 27, 2019 on FX, the series follows four vampire roommates on Staten Island and stars Kayvan Novak, Matt Berry, Natasia Demetriou, Harvey Guillén, Proksch and Kristen Schaal. Based on the 2014 New Zealand film of the same name, written by Clement and Taika Waititi, it is the second television series in the franchise. The fifth season of What We Do in the Shadows premiered on July 13, 2023, with the sixth season renewal already confirmed. It has been critically acclaimed, particularly for its cast and writing, and nominated for 21 Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Comedy Series in 2020 and 2022 for its second and third seasons, respectively. Set primarily in Staten Island, New York City and New York, What We Do in the Shadows follows the lives of three traditional vampires, Nandor, Laszlo and Nadia, Colin Robertson, an energy vampire, and Guillermo, Nandor's familiar. The series revolves around the vampires clashing with the modern world, other supernatural beings or each other, while in secret. Guillermo tries to balance his loyalty to Nandor and his dangerous family ancestry. Some interesting trivia notes. All of the main vampire characters, save for Colin Robinson, wear custom-made vampire fangs that clip into attachments on their teeth. This was done to ensure the traditional prosthetic fangs would not hinder their speech patterns or pronunciation of words. The theme song, You're Dead, was originally released in 1966. The artist who released it is Norma Tianga, as part of her album entitled Walking on My Cat Named Dog. The album's title track hit number 22 in the charts. In one of the earlier seasons, Nandor mentions someone named Count Fandango, which is a reference to the character in Matt Berry's earlier series, Toast of London. During an interview with Collider, Kayvan Novak described getting the part of Nandor. I auditioned in London and it was just the scene. On the breakdown it said, you don't have to wear fangs, but if you want to wear fangs, then wear them. So I went out and bought some fangs. I did my hair like Nandor does his hair in the show, and I wore a white shirt with the top button done up. Nadia marks the first time that a female vampire has been a main character in the universe of What We Do in the Shadows. In a panel in 2019, series creators Taika Waititi and Jemaine Clement admitted they had always wanted to include female vampires in the original film, but were thwarted by the logistical challenge. Clement and Waititi had to ask a group of their friends to be part of the cast because they had no budget. Though they invited several of their female friends to participate, none of them actually showed up. Colin Robinson is a psychic vampire. This is a creature first described by British occultist Dion Fortune in her book about psychic self-defense. She claims to have encountered such a creature that is human with a deep occult knowledge while training as a nurse. While the concept has gained popularity as a metaphor, Dion Fortune meant it quite literally. Guillermo was originally supposed to be 20 years older. Harvey Guillén was the last of the main characters to be cast and was a wild card due to him not being of the age initially written for the character. He modelled himself after director Guillermo del Toro, with round glasses and hair parted in the middle in order to make himself look older in the audition. He was cast just 5 days before filming began. Guillermo's last name, De la Cruz, translates of the cross, alluding to his secret life as a vampire slayer. Writer-producer Paul Sims says that the series does not use CGI effects. There's no fully digital characters or anything like that, he'd say. One of the movies we really talked about a lot when we were conceiving the show was Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, where he went back to really doing as many effects as possible in camera and figuring out ways to do that. The cinematographers on the show, DJ Stipson and Christian Springer, also cited Coppola's director Bram Stoker's Dracula as an influence on the way the set was done. We referenced that film of the Vampire's Mansion, which was our main set. Our take, however, was that Staten Island vampires had let their place go. The former glory is evident, but now it exists in a worn, faded and distressed state. Production designer Kate Bunch said, I had a lot of conversations about striking the right balance between the sumptuousness and neglect. There are strong reds, but also yellow, that have faded to the point of being warm brown. Now, Season 5 of What We Do in the Shadows picks off exactly where Season 4 left off. In other words, it's just as funny and as brilliant as ever. The finale of Season 4 concluded with Guillermo approaching vampire Derek for a transformational transfusion. In Season 5, we learn that one of the greatest insults a vampire can face is if their familiar is made into a vampire by blood of another vampire. It's a real insult, which goes back generations, and it is well established that Nandor is not one that takes such things so lightly. Nandor's growing awareness now for some sort of change that's happened in the household adds to some subtle comedic moments, but it also creates an underlying suspense. For me, Novak is at his best when he's hiding Nandor's motivations and vulnerabilities. The mere fact that he embraces the self-improvement book, I'm okay, you're okay, is just absolutely hilarious. Of course, the main story throughout Season 5 is that Guillermo has now been turned into a vampire, and he must hide this fact from his master, Nandor. Guillermo is resolutely a bad liar, and while his new condition affords the series to explore more comedic possibilities of special effects and makeup, once again, Matt Berry as Laszlo is absolutely magnificent. He now shows another side to his character, where he shows that he actually cares for Gizmo, as he calls him, and he experiments on Gizmo's secret change to uncover a wealth of vampiric myth nuggets. Nadja, once again played by the fantastic Natasia Demetriou, in this season goes out to find her own newfound community roots. Also, the inclusion now of Kristen Schaal as a series regular really adds another impetus to the show, even though she is treated as a mere acquaintance to the other vampires. Colin Robertson continues his arc as moving from one dead-end job to the next. His interpretation of one of the most annoying waiters is absolutely hilarious. And Mark Proksch's dry ability to deliver his lines so perfectly just adds another fantastic layer of laughter to the show. For me, Season 5 leans much more into the feature film by Jemaine Clement and Taika Waititi. Season 5 delivers a superb, wickedly funny that doubles down on the horror of the series, but is also a lot more crude and bold in its humour. For me, the finale of Season 5 isn't a reset. If anything, it seems to resume the status quo, with Guillermo finally rejecting wanting to become a vampire, with Nandor sharing that he never really turned him because he could tell Guillermo didn't have it in him to be truly a vampire who could kill innocent people with his own hands. By allowing Guillermo to make their own decision for himself and remain human, and by having Nandor be the one who puts him on this path, the finale further develops the shift in the group's dynamic that has been shown throughout the season. The one big shift I saw in Season 5 is that the other vampires have started to care for Guillermo. Laszlo even protects him when Nandor tries to kill him. And Nadja, who's often been the cruelest of the group of vampires, brings Guillermo to urgent care after he breaks his leg, and then essentially protects him from other vampires trying to kill him. The characters may be back to their expected places by the season finale, but that doesn't mean that they didn't grow in some different ways. This is a beautifully written comedy, and with one of the strongest ensemble casts on television, the show continues to find more outlandish ways to play off their characters, as it allows each of the actors to do what they do best, while still being absurd, horrifying, and hilariously funny. What We Do in the Shadows Season 5 gets a 9.5 out of 10.